Hey guys, what's going on? Today, instead of doing the Adventure Communist video that I had planned, I kind of have a lot on my mind, and nothing gets my mind off of things like reviewing obscure historical stuff that should never have happened in the first place. So, I've seen other people do this, and it seems like fun, so I'm going to give it a try. Imperial German plans for the invasion of the United States. So basically, yeah, the title's pretty self-explanatory. So, Imperial German plans for the invasion of the United States were ordered by Germany's Kaiser Wilhelm II from 1897 to 1903. So, that's not very long. He intended to conquer not to conquer the U.S., but only to reduce the country's influence. So basically, what they wanted to do was the U.S. had influence over, like, Latin America, and they wanted to set up colonies there. But the U.S. wasn't going to let them, because they didn't like European countries rolling in there. But they were just trying to liberate it. They're America, okay? America. I gotta look at the camera when I say this. America. F yeah. Command and save it. Alright, his planned invasion was supposed to force the U.S. to bargain from a weak position and to sever its growing economic and political connections in the Pacific Ocean, Caribbean, and South America so that German influence could increase there. Junior officers made various plans, but none were seriously considered, and the project was dropped in 1906. So, they started to wise up a little bit. So that's good. First plan was made in the winter of 1897 to... Okay, let's stop a minute. The winter. You guys are never gonna learn. Never. Never. By Lieutenant Eberhard von Manty, and targeted mainly American naval bases in Hampton Roads to reduce and constrain the U.S. Navy and threaten Washington, D.C. In March 1899, after significant gains made by the U.S. in the Spanish-American War, the plan was altered to focus... You're dumb. You guys are dumb. You know that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Willie, but you're not... Land invasion of New York City and Boston. Okay, not even aliens could do a land invasion of New York City. You think you guys can do it? You are sorely mistaken. And Boston. Yeah, because that worked out well for the British. In August 1901, Lieutenant Herbert von... I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Spied on the target areas and reported back. Oh, so they were actually going to try to do this. Oh, Willie, you're such a smart man. You're such a smart man with your big mustache. Willie. Willie, you're so smart. A third plan was drawn up in November 1903 by Naval Staff Officer Wilhelm Bruchel. Operation Plan 3. Operations Plan 3. Why? Okay, why? Why did they have 3 of them? Why did you... Alright, with minor adjustments made to the ambitious landing locations and immediate tactical goals. The German Navy, under Grand Admiral Alfred von Timpitz... Ooh. Look at that for a second. Appreciate that beard for just a second. Expanded greatly from 1898 to 1906, but was never large enough to carry out the plans, and there is no indication that they were ever successfully considered. The German army, under Field Marshal Alfred von Schlieffen, responsible for at least 100,000 troops in the invasion, was certain that the proposal would end in defeat. Okay. The plans were permanently shelved in 1906 and did not become fully public until 1970, when they were discovered in the German military archive in Friedberg. Additional rediscovery of them occurred in 2002, so it took like 100 years to figure this out. The general staffs of all major powers make hypothetical war plans. The main objective is to estimate the amount of resources necessary to carry them out, so that if the crisis ever emerged, precious time would not be wasted in developing them. Since all nations do it routinely, there is no sense that the plans developed by junior officers had any impact on national decision-making. Most of the plans never leave the War Department. So, overall, this was a pretty dumb idea by Willy and the rest of the Germans. Because what they wanted to do was basically take a bunch of ships that they didn't have and sail them across the Atlantic and basically take out a growing American Navy and a large American army with only, now 100,000 might sound like a lot, but really it's not that much when you consider how big the army is. Like, Britain conscripted about 1 million in World War I, so this is not a lot. So this is not, you gotta start using your head, dude. Plan 1. Germany's first plan was to attack naval power on the east coast, and thus gain a free hand to establish German naval base in the Caribbean, and to negotiate for another in the Pacific. Naval Lieutenant Erhard von Manty, later admiral and naval historian, was assigned the task of drawing up the plans. Manty, then 28 years old, began the work in late 1897, working through the winter into 1898. Dude, poor Eberhard. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, and he spent so much time doing something stupid. Yeah, he doesn't even have one. Poor guy. So I'm just going to sum up the plans for you. Basically, this one was just to, they wanted to kind of siege the East Coast. Or not really siege, but they just kind of wanted to float their boats around there and be like that. And then Plan 2 was after the Spanish-American War, and they wanted to invade New York City and Boston, and they needed, so look at this, they needed 60 warships, 40 to 60 cargo and troop ships, 7,500 short tons of coal, 100,000 soldiers, and a large amount of army artillery would cross the Atlantic in 25 days. So basically, they just decided in Plan 2 that they were not only going to do something in Plan 1 that was virtually impossible, but they were going to do that, except this time they were going to send half their army across the Atlantic. Wow. Plan 3. By this time, Germany... So this one was kind of like this one, except they just wanted to, they wanted to land at Cape Cod instead, and they wanted to do, this one's kind of hard to explain, but it's very similar to Plan 2, which is what really need to get here. So overall, I give Germany a 0 out of 10 for this one, because they get a 0 out of 10 because they were just being stupid and they were being bullies. And America gets, they're not scored because they didn't even know about this plan, but they were the ones getting bullied, so we'll give them an honorary 10 out of 10. Alright, I know this video wasn't very good, but I will see you guys next time.